Hi, welcome back to the Castellano channel where we like to talk about life, love, and marriage. This is my lovely, amazing wife, Linda.
And this is my wonderful husband, David, who I refer to as Sugar.
And today, I just want to say thank you for over 400 subscribers, and also we've received over 6,000 views. And today, we're going to talk about what we like to call Testimony Tuesday. We're going to talk about how we got our Mercedes, and it's a pretty awesome story. And at some point, I'm going to let Linda take over. But is it okay if I start?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So one day, well, let me just start with saying that we used to drive a Toyota Yaris. Maybe before, should I go back a little bit further?
Yeah, you can go back to the car before that. Yeah.
All right. We used to drive a Jaguar. Was it like 1985 or 1986 or?
Oh my God, I don't even remember.
So anyway,
it was an '89.
It was an '89 Jaguar,
and we had it for 12 years.
We had it for 12 years, and one morning we are going to work, and I'm actually dropping Linda off at the train station, and then as we are pulling into the parking lot, we get T-boned by another car. It was another car that was backing out and actually hit our car to the point where it had pushed the entire passenger side door in.
Tried to kill me.
Yeah, so I thank God that Linda wasn't hurt, but we were really upset, and of course, one thing led to another. We exchanged insurances. Long story short, we ended up having to get rid of our car. And
they totaled it because of the door, because it was those cars who had those that was made of real metal.
Right.
Whatever it was.
And we couldn't believe it.
They totaled it. We was like, just fix the door. It's fine.
Right. So no, it was really devastating because we didn't think that was going to be
a big deal.
A big deal. Yeah. So I figured, we just get a new door and that was that. But that wasn't the case. We ended up losing the car, and we ended up going for another car with the money that we received through the insurance company, which wasn't really that much because the book value on the car was really low. So low.
It was an older car.
It was an older car.
Wait.
All right.
We decided to go to get this other car. I wanted to get a nice car and a little note, not that big of a note, but David decided that we had to pay cash for a car because that car we had was paid for, and we didn't have a car payment, right? So he didn't want to have a car payment, and he was like, so what we're going to do is we're going to pay cash for this other car. And I was like, well, it's not a lot of money. How are we going to pay cash for this car? Long story short, he found one.
Right, which was a Toyota Yaris, which was very economical.
It was.
You get a lot of mileage out of that car.
$20.
$20 filled up the tank. So we were quite happy. Got you from point A to point B, but Linda wasn't having it. So she wanted a luxury car.
But I had to have it for 7 years. 7 years.
Yes.
We called the car Little Bit, affectionately Little Bit.
Little Bit. It was definitely a vanity plate called Little Bit, and we rolled that. We rolled that car until I was dropping her off at work one morning on a Saturday over in downtown Chicago, and after she leaves the car, I'm just leaving. I'm still in front of the building. I get to a red light. There's no other cars there around me, and then suddenly this car comes rolling up behind me, and I don't know, I'm guessing maybe this person may have been looking at his phone, and just hit the back of my car. And it wasn't too bad. It was like a little fender bender, but it didn't look like anything serious, and I thought that maybe that could be fixed. I was able to ride it home with no problem. We exchanged insurances and everything, and turns out that person provided like fake insurance, didn't show up to the court date, and it was really frustrating. So we couldn't get the car fixed because of how it was hit. It damaged the frame, and
so I took it in to get it. Went past the part that traumatized me. I took it in to get it repaired, and I wasn't going to take it in initially because it was so small of damage. It didn't look like anything. It was just like a little bit of the bumper was just pushed in. So I wasn't going to get it fixed because it was no big deal. When my neighbor knocked on my door and was like, your hatchback light is on. And that's when I realized, oh, this is at least let me get it fixed so the hatch light could go off, and I don't want to drain my battery. Right. So lo and behold, I got a surprise check at work for $500. My deductible was $500. So I was like, I'm going to be a big girl. Go get it fixed. You're going to have a little car. You don't need to be raggedy and little. you need to just be little. So I took, it's not a good combo. So I took the car in to the place to get it fixed, being all big girly and everything. It was like, fix the car, boo boo. And he was like, I didn't expect it to be nothing besides a day or two. They're going to call me to pick up the car.
Right.
So at this point, this is crazy because they called me. I missed the call, and I called him back, and I was like, okay, when do I pick up the car? And he says the car is totaled. And I'm like,
right. We had a hard time understanding that because it was like the damage was so small. We didn't expect to hear that the car was totaled. And it had something to do with the frame because I think with the Toyota Yaris,
it's made one frame. It's just one frame.
It's just one huge frame. So if any part of that frame gets damaged, it just ruins the entire car. Which
it was terrible. So I'm going crazy on this man. I'm like, first thing I need you to do is put the bumper back on because we can't have a total car because I need that car because it gets me to point A to point B. Oh, and by the way, initially they sort of mentioned it, but I didn't want that car. I wanted any car but that car because it looked like a clown car to me. Okay, and I was too cool for that. And I was just like, oh my God, are you serious? We gotta be. And then we got the whole family. Cool? I was cool. We had the whole family, cool. 6 people in this little clown car. And my grandkids was embarrassed, like, oh God, no. So this is the craziest. So I am traumatized by this, and I'm yelling at the man. So I'm gonna put the bumper back on. He started talking about codes and how he can't put the bumper back on. It's a broken egg, da da da, and he can't put an egg back together. And I was like, I can't stand you. And then he says, ma'am, maybe it's time for you to get a new car. Maybe that's what's happening. And I was like, first of all, you can't say that to me if you ain't give me no money to go with this car. You know what you talking about. So I was just like, woo, woo, whatever. But I started crying. And I was in the hallway. I was crying. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, look here. I got a problem. And I told her a little bit is dead. And I was just like crying like crazy. She was like, calm down. Let me understand what you're saying. I told her the car died. And now I got to get a new car. And our financial situation had tremendously changed in the last few years. So I'm like, we don't have money for a car payment. And she was like, well, have you even tried? And I was like, Mom, you're not listening to me. And she was like, what? Maybe. And she said, maybe it's time for you to get a new car. And that's the second time I heard it. And I was angry with her because she knew about our situation. So I was like, okay, Mom, that's annoying. She said, well, that's when she said, have you tried? And I'm like, I haven't tried. Why would I try for something that I don't have enough money to do? This is stupid. So I got very frustrated about that. And she said, well, could you try for me? Now, when she said that, she had just found out she had cancer. And I was just like, And she said, because I want to ride in the car at least one time.
Right.
And I felt like, oh my God, okay. Now I'm stuck. And then I called David. And I'm like, David, I'm crying and snotting and everything. They a little bit dead, and my mama talking about a new car. No, I didn't say that to him. He said, Linda, maybe it's time to get a new car. And when he said it, you would think it would have made me happy, but it made me angry. Because I felt like if anybody know what our financial situation is like, it's David. So I'm like, we cannot have a new car. How is this going to happen? So he was just like, Linda, I don't know what else to say. So I hung up from him and I went back to work and I started banging on my computer really hard, the name of the car that I love so much. So I put that in the computer. First place popped up. I called him all aggressive. I want to come in, get a car, and da-da-da-da. And then he was like, okay, fine, give me a social security number. And I gave him mine. I gave him Dave's too, just for good measure. Just hopefully that'll help our situation. And I told him exactly how much money I could afford. And I just threw a number out there that seemed reasonable.
Right.
But what I didn't tell you all is in 2014, we got our grandchildren. I think I mentioned that before. And the day we dropped them off at school, I dropped them off at school, the first day I saw the car that I fell in love with. I fell in love with this car. I just sat there thinking, okay, so I get 2 more kids to raise, and somebody got that car. This is unfair. It's not right. I waited a long time to see who came out, but they never came out, so I eventually left and went home. Anyway, after I saw the car again, I started saying, pow, pow, pow. And then...
What does POW mean?
POW means, ooh, oh, that's it right there, like that, right?
Right.
And then my grandson Joey, he asked me, he was like, "Grandma, why you keep doing that?" And whenever, and I, I explained to him why I was doing it, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna do it with you."
Mm-hmm.
So we was powering all the time together. Mm-hmm. And then one day, me and David's in the car driving somewhere, and I'm like, either I'm hallucinating or that emblem is illuminated. Mm-hmm. And David was like, "It's illuminated." And I'm like, "Oh, they done took it to another level."
Right, this is for the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. So then I stopped seeing Powell.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, like, all the time she would see this car in the street, she would just get more and more frustrated because, you know, that's the
After
car.
that.
It seems like
impossible.
That was the car that she wanted, and because of that, it seemed like that same car was just appearing, like, everywhere.
Everywhere. It's all over the streets now. So when I get to going forward now, so when I was doing all this powering, of course, we was in a little bit. So now I'm trying to see how we're going to get this car, but I had no anticipation. We wasn't in the market for a car. This just happened, and it just happened. So when I'm talking to the guy, I missed the part. When I stopped saying Powell. My grandson Joey said, "Oh, Grandma, why did you stop saying Powell?" And I explained to him the truth. We don't have money for a car like that. It's silly. I'm going to stop. This is getting on my nerves now. And he said, "Grandma, don't lose faith. Don't lose hope." He said, "Even if you can't get it, when I grow up, I'm going to get you that car." And it touched my heart so much. He said, "We have to keep saying Powell." And then I would be saying Powell, but it would be begrudging. Like that.
Right.
And then, so now, fast forward to when this happened to us, which was so traumatizing. So the man asked me, "What model is it?" And I don't know what model it is because I wasn't shopping for a car. So I was like, "I can't find it." He said, "Go on the website." I couldn't find it. We only had to rent a car for, I think, one more day. And he said, "Listen," he said, "you got approved. And it's, you know, within the range you told me. And I have 3 cars here I want you to come see." And I was just like, "Okay, sure, whatever. We got to get this rent-a-car back." So when Dave and I is walking up to the place to go into the dealership, I see the car. And I'm like, "Oh, my God." Now, I had no idea about anything. I just was like, "David, this is the car I love. This is the one. What's the model of this? What's the name or number or whatever?"
Right, it was a 2015, right?
Yeah, but
was it 2015?
We still don't even know what kind of car it is.
What do you mean?
The model number. What is the model number? We don't know. But anyway, leave it. Just leave it. Anyway, it's okay. It's fine. We're not material to this extent, is what we're saying. So it was just something that was beautiful to me. So anyway, I'm walking past. First of all, I was about to cry, and I told David, if now that I've seen this is what I want. And if I can't get this, I don't want nothing. And David was like, "Come on, let's just go for it and see what the guy got for us." I'm walking past the car, pretty much in tears, and the guy comes out and says, "Are you Linda Castellano?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You won?" He said, "Yeah." I said, he said, "Why are you walking past your car?"
Juan at AutoWorks.
And no, he was at Mercedes. It wasn't AutoWorks in Mercedes. It was in Indiana. I don't know.
Yeah, it was AutoWorks in Indiana.
Yeah. So I'm like, "This is the car you were trying to show me?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God, you won't believe this, but this is the car that I want. This is it." I just didn't know the name of it. And he said, "Oh wow, I got the key. Let's turn it on." So I'm nervous and I'm crazy and I'm thinking he's gonna try to trick me and make me have a big car payment. So my brain's going crazy and I'm telling him, "I ain't afford no big car payment. You can't trick me because I'm telling you right now what I can't do. Okay, and I'm not the one." So get in the car, turn the car on. Then I really think about the emblem and I jump out the car and it's illuminated. Now that's when I was like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. You done outdid yourself. Long story short, the timing of God is so important. I guess God had to get that car there for me. He had to get it there for me. The car had, I think, 20,000 miles on it. It was a showroom car that had been leased out one time. So it had all the fancy stuff in it. Bells and whistles because it was a showroom car. So that's why it had the emblem on there, which didn't come out standardly till later. You know, but I'm saying this to say how God's timing is important. He had to kill a little bit, and our new car is called what?
Mo Better.
Mo Better. Why?
Mo Better because it's more better than the little bit that we had. It's so funny because, you know, every time people
gosh.
Every time people see our car, they always ask about the license plates, and they're like they think it's like more
better
better
than
than
them.
their car, and it's absolutely not better.
No.
It's just more better than what we
had.
So.
What we had, and we didn't even think about that when we got the plate. We didn't even think about that. But I'm saying all that to say, God's timing is everything. He had to. First of all, I had to get okay with a little bit. I had to get past me, and I had to get past me a lot because I felt embarrassed about riding that little car. I just felt like it was a clown car. Then I fell in love with it because I was like $20 and it goes so fast. Plus, I used to race people in the streets, and
yeah, she's really like,
and
she's like kind of crazy a little bit on this.
Because they wouldn't have no idea what a little bit could do. So I was
Right.
like, I'll show you something. And Dave was like, stop this. So I did stop eventually. But God will set you up for your blessing. And I had no faith. He just was blessing me anyway. I called him Sneaky Jesus. Because he was
I forgot about Sneaky Jesus.
Yes, because he just made it happen. He just forced it to happen. And
we say Sneaky Jesus because you feel like you're being forced into an area that you're really not comfortable with moving in, and then something happens and it's like you're forced to go in that direction no matter what.
No matter what.
And even though you're doing it grudgingly, you don't recognize the blessing,
it's a blessing
that's coming your way.
Yes.
So I just want you all to be aware of that. So
yes,
God doesn't move in the direction that you think He's going to move in.
Never.
So I've heard a saying that if you really want to make God laugh,
make
let
a
him,
plan.
tell him what your plans are.
Oh my goodness, I'm having a little twitch in my eye tonight, y'all. But I just wanted to say that God can do things. It's a scripture that says, if you delight yourself in the Lord, He'll give you heart's desires. That was one of my heart's desires. That was one of the things that I really want. I couldn't envision even having it. I had no faith at all for it. And God just surprised me with it. And the thing I love about this particular car is they don't, from 2015 to 2021, the models don't change much. The style is the same. And it was beautiful and still is very beautiful. So I'm just thankful to God for loving us like that and forcing us into better to get something, and I ain't had a problem with the payment. When we got down to finance the car, I was like, let me tell you something. What you're not gonna do is get me in here and trick me and get me to sign up. He was like, he said, do you know where you are? I said, and I was like, yeah. And I named the place, and he said, you at a reputable Mercedes dealership. We don't do that here. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. But I was prepared to be tricked, but the trick didn't happen. It turned out to be just a total blessing. And even with the timing of little bit getting hit to when the lady returned the car, who had it before us, and how the timing had to God just set it up so greatly.
So perfectly. Seamlessly.
It was seamless. And the only reason why, too, I was stretching myself to even put my mind in the place to get it is because I had a job interview. I had been on several job interviews. And I expected that new job, and then I didn't get it. And I was like, what? So we got the car, and I didn't get the job. Ain't missed the payment, though. God is faithful and good.
But we got the car.
And He blessed us, and blessed us even financially to be able to keep the car. So we just wanted to share that little story with you all, just to stay encouraged. And your blessing probably ain't coming from the direction, like David said. It ain't coming from the direction you're expecting. It's always from another direction. Right. And there's no, in everything that you go through, I want you to remember this. There's no wasted or lost experiences. God uses everything, even down to what we're sharing with you today. He uses all of us.
Right.
The whole thing to be a blessing for us and a blessing for Him.
So trust Him.
Trust Him. So that's all we really want to share with you all. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We hope you liked today's Testimony Tuesday.
Testimony Tuesday, something new. Oh, and something blue. All right. Thank you all. Mwah. Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a great night.